Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. I'm going to ramble a little bit about economics and video cards. I hope you can tolerate it. If you can't, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below or something. I don't know. Do whatever. All right, please forgive how sloppy this is going to be. I was trying to do this with my drawing tablet, but for some reason, every time I open up OBS, the tablet stops working. I'm going to have to figure that out later. But anyways, supply and demand. We have to do that first if you haven't seen this already. But if you've been through a basic economics course or have seen this somewhere else or watched some good economic videos, there's a lot better ones than this out there, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But on the y-axis here, we're going to put a P for price, and on the x-axis, a little Q for quantity. And what this is saying is that there's a relationship between how much people charge for a certain good and how many of a quantity that relates to either in supply or demand. How many people will want and how many people are willing to make to sell. So let's start with supply. Supply usually looks like a nice curve. It can have a bunch of different shapes to reflect all different nuances, but we won't worry about that. This is our supply curve. And here, let me make a new layer for that one. So this is our supply curve. And then demand, you can guess, as prices go up, people demand less. So we'll pull this down and we'll put a little D there. That's a D. That's a D. And that's for demand. And let's take a quick look here at what this might mean. So let's say price X is right here. So this is how many people want if the price is price X. But at that high of a price, sellers want to supply a lot of these because there's a lot of profit to be made. And so they'll supply this much. And what you end up with is a surplus. Surplus. Okay. And what happens usually in a surplus is that if there's too many things, people start putting them on sale because they don't want to hold the inventory. It drives the price down more towards this point here. This point is our equilibrium point. And what that means, I'll just put a little sub E there, is that the amount of things people demand of whatever good, we're just going to call this video cards to make it easier. The amount of video cards people demand equals the amount that suppliers are willing to supply at that price. And so the goods will flow nicely. People will keep demanding them. They'll match the supply and demand. And for the most part, people will probably be happy, I guess. So that's a pretty good spot. And then if the price is set too low, we're going to call that something else. Price Z. That's bad. If you're a math person and you don't like that I'm using X and Z up there, then sorry. So we're going to pretend that lines up here. So we'll do the same thing down here. If the price is too low, suppliers don't want to supply anything, but people are demanding a ton of them to a point. At some point, they just don't want any more. Like nobody, well, okay. People playing games don't want 100 graphics cards, but miners do. But that's besides the point. People typically want less. Like at a certain point, they don't get any benefit from having more of the things. So this will taper off. But anyways, this down here is a shortage. And that's kind of like what we're in right now with video cards. You can't get enough of them. People want them really hard. And you can't really buy them because there aren't enough. But I'm going to say this actually looks a little different. And let's just fade this one out. And let's look at the supply of graphics cards. Now, right now, there were some disruptions in manufacturing, and there's a lot of demand on manufacturing. So maybe the cost of making each video card for both AMD and NVIDIA has gone up. And so at any given price, they're not willing to supply as many, right? So I need a new layer. So let's draw a new supply curve that's shifted over a little bit, but we're going to stop somewhere. I say we're going to stop right about here, and we're going to say no matter what the price is, please pretend this is a vertical line. No matter what the price is, they can't supply anymore. They're maxed out, right? They just don't have any more. They can't get them through the factories fast enough. And we might be there. It might be just that hard to produce things. And now let's look at demand. This is supply. And let's look at demand. Now, demand was down here somewhere before, but let's say everyone wants to do indoor activities because COVID, so we need to move it over a little bit. Everybody has stimulus checks from the government, and they have a little disposable income that they want to spend. And, there's a lot of people who need that just to get by. But let's face it, they're giving that out to a lot of people who probably didn't really need it. And so that is driving up demand and what people are willing to pay for things. And then Bitcoins and Ethereum and stuff. The mining craze is back. And so the prices have gone way up. And maybe some of you watching this are too young, but a bunch of us, like a few years ago only, remember the last time Bitcoin mining went crazy and video cards were double their MSRP. So this is not exactly new. But let's put this demand thing way over here. Okay. Now you can see, it seems to me that this is true. I don't have any numbers for you, but like no matter what, we can't get any more of these things. So at any price below where these meet, you are not going to be producing enough cards at that price to sell them. And so we're going to call this PE. This is the equilibrium price again, and it's way up here. Here's kind of the problem right now, is that manufacturers are probably setting, and retailers are setting the price somewhere down here. And we're just going to say P actual. We'll call it PA. And maybe they don't want to be seen as villains, or maybe they have some kind of contractual agreement to sell things at a certain price, but they are creating a bigger shortage. That's stupid. Shortage. They're creating a bigger shortage than what should be there. See, in a free market without those restrictions, they would have just raised the prices until they were selling the video cards about as fast as they could get them, but they're not. And what that leaves is this giant gap right here, this gap. And this is where the scalpers and the reason we have botters and things live, right? The difference between the price you pay in the store and the price you can actually get for it in the free market, open market, are big enough that there's a profit margin there. And so that's why botters and scalpers and things exist. If the price at the stores was set up here, or even a little bit below it, like right here, so that the scalpers wouldn't have any profit margin after they pay for fees and things and all the costs of buying and selling stuff, then they wouldn't exist, and the cards would be free for everyone to buy. And that's just not the case. And this may be really unpopular, but I'm actually advocating that stores raise their prices. Because if you want to beat botters and scalpers, then and if you want to buy cards from stores with return policies and full warranty coverage and all those kinds of things, then they need to be in the stores. And right now you're in an unfair competition on a lot of websites with bots. And if you're not in the vicinity of a micro center, you don't have any recourse there. And Best Buy is just kind of hard. It's hard to buy the card there. They do a better job than most places at blocking people out, but it's hard. And so I don't want to pay more for video cards, but really I think stores should be raising their prices, P checkmark, to somewhere around here. So that way people don't have this problem with the botters. Kick those people out of the market, and then everyone can buy their cards. A little bit less than the going market rate, but more than the set prices that you see on store websites. And this A is pretty good. Actually, it stands also for arbitrary. Like, they set those prices, but that's not what the market's saying they're worth. That's just what they're setting it. So I want to say that you shouldn't get too upset about this price and not being able to get one at that price. Price is what the market tolerates. This is just somebody said it should be this number, and right now it's more. So, anyways, I'm sure this is going to get some comments. Please leave some comments below. Tell me why you think this is wrong. But to me, it seems like actually the right strategy. Stores should just charge more and then let people get the cards. And I'm sure that it's going to get to a point where the price is just way too high. It's out of control. And then everything will crash and go back to normal, and you'll be seeing used 3070s on the market that were mined for 6 months, and they'll be $300, and people won't know what to do with them. It'll be raining cards. You're going to get Founders Editions. They're going to be melting them down for scrap because it's worth more. That's kind of what happened with all the RX 580s last time. You could buy an RX 580 for like $75-$80 on Craigslist in my area. It was crazy. And they were perfectly fine. I used one for quite a while. Nothing wrong with it, a mining card. But I kind of wanted to just share this with you because I was hoping it would help. It would help people think about what's going on. And I don't want anyone to be like upset about the people exploiting this range either. The scalpers and the botters. The botters I don't like, definitely, because they're cheating. Okay? But the so-called scalpers, all they're doing is seeing an opportunity. They say, the price is set here, and I think it's worth this, so I'm going to buy it here and sell it for that. That's what you do if you bought stocks. You buy them with the hopes that they go up in value, and then you can sell them later. You do all kinds of things. You provide work to people in hoping that your work is worth a certain amount of dollars to them, and the dollars are what you want more. Like every kind of transaction works like this, and all merchants, all the stores do this too. They're trying to pay some lower price in order to sell it to you here so that they can make a profit. So don't fault these people too much anyways. Some of them, you can fault them. Some of them are jerks, but it's the botters that are the problem. I know that was a lot of rambling. Maybe it was helpful to you. Maybe I don't usually make videos like this, but I'm going to make a follow-up video with some tips on actually how to get the graphics cards, because I spend a lot of time trying to get them, and I've been able to acquire quite a few. I've been able to get a 6800 XT, 6800 XT 319 Merc Speedster. What an awful name. And in some ways I like it still, but whatever. And then the whole series, 3060 Ti, 3070, 3080, and 3090. I've been able to get at least one of each so far since they've all released. And I did everything. I did the waiting out in front of a store at 5 a.m. I did, camping out websites. I entered the lotteries. I bought systems. But I'm going to go through all the strategies I found worked the best and can get you what you're looking for. So thank you for watching. And please have a pleasant afternoon.